and it all depends on what the next two teams we're going to look at kind of look like. And let's move on into the Philadelphia Eagles.
Also, Victor Cruz. Just want to mention him.
Victor Cruz. You got to mention him.
That's all.
With the G-men. But with the Eagles, some big off-season moves. First off, DeMarco Murray, trade him away. He's now in Tennessee. D'Amico Ryans got cut from this team. They go ahead and keep Sammy Bradford, but they lose guys like Biggers. You've got Cedric Thornton, like I said, is now in D-Town. Walter Thurman is now gone. Riley Cooper is now gone. Thaddeus Lewis is now playing for Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. Guys they bring in, though, and these are the key guys. Brandon Brooks, they bring him over from Houston. You got Rodney McLean. He's coming over from the Rams. You've got McKelvin coming over from the Bills. You got Wizlewski coming over from Jacksonville. Ron Brooks coming in from the Bills. You've got Chris Givens. You've got Good. You've got Jones. You've got Ruben Randall coming over from the Giants. Yeah, I said that right. I know it's Ruben Randall. I just like to say Ruben Randall. But you bring in all these guys, and then you go ahead and make the big... Well, is it the biggest splash or the second biggest splash of the draft by trading up to the second pick in order to get Carson Wentz? And that's where I want to start this discussion for the Eagles. Mark, you got Sammy Bradford, you got Carson Wentz. What are you doing if you're in Philly?
I'm torn because you not only are you drafting somebody second overall, but you're trading up to draft this guy second overall.
You're giving up a ton for that.
So in that mindset, you kind of think, all right, we gave up all this for this guy, kind of have to start him, right? But he's not ready to go.
You don't have to
He's
start
not
him.
ready to go. He needs the time. You've got Sam Bradford, who's capable, and then you got Chase Daniels, who for some reason you traded for.
And he came over in free agency.
Didn't trade for him. He
followed now head coach Doug Peterson over from KC.
He wanted him, is what I was thinking. So I just don't know. I really don't know how to feel about that because I feel like you have to go Sam Bradford, but it's just not going to be good enough. You know, he can be average. He's not going to win these things. He starts messing up or he gets hurt, and then you got Chase Daniel. That's your guy. That's your starting quarterback. The guy is not a starting quarterback. So Carson Wentz is not in the best situation here. The Philadelphia Eagles are not in the best situation here. They lost a lot of pieces with Chip Kelly's whole experiment for 3 years. This defense is trying to rebuild. They got a lot of new guys, with the defense, guys who... I don't know. There's nothing about this team that I'm really sold on. That's really what it comes down to. They're not terrible. They're average to bad is where I would put them at. So I don't think it matters if you start Bradford. I don't think it matters if you start Carson Wentz. I just don't think you're going to win that many games.
Well, to me, quarterback is the big question. And I'm like you. I'm torn on this decision because, you have Bradford. You have Peterson coming in, who's an offensive-minded head coach. However, you don't trade up for that quarterback spot at number 2 unless you're going to start him the entire first season. I know what you're probably saying, Ricky, but he's not ready. Why start him when you have a guy like Sammy Bradford? Fine. Go ahead and start Sammy Bradford. I'm not here making the case to start Carson Wentz for the entire first season. I actually think that he probably should sit because one of the guys, and I know this is kind of flash in the pan, only one example, Aaron Rodgers didn't play his first year. Look at how he turned out.
Now, of course, they didn't trade up to get Aaron Rodgers.
I know, but I'm just saying, sat out that first year. Carson Wentz isn't nowhere near Andrew Luck either, who's going to come in day one. So
he is near Andrew Luck?
Well, he's nowhere near Andrew Luck is what I'm saying. Did I say he was?
You said he's not nowhere near Andrew Luck.
He's nowhere near Andrew Luck. That's what I'm trying to say.
I just want a grammar Nazi.
Yeah, I know. Where he's not going to come in day one and go, boom, I'm here.
No, not at all.
And just show up the entire league winning Rookie of the Year, face of a franchise. But I feel like this Philly offense just isn't going to be good enough to win games. Even though the defense is improved and the defense may keep them in games, I just think this offense is just going to stall at points.
I agree. I mean, I think the defense can keep them in some games, but I don't think the offense is going to go out and win itself more than 3 or 4 games. Mm-hmm. You know, and I know we're not doing record predictions too much right now, but I don't see Philadelphia getting out of the top 5 of worst teams, which is great, of course, for the Browns, because the Browns will probably be right in the conversation for worst team as well, and then they get 2 picks because if Philadelphia is in there, fantastic for them.
And I'm going to get into in a second I'm going to break down their schedule a little bit. Not full prediction, because I'm not completely sold on every game. This is just where I'm sitting right now. But I want to throw some comments at you, because I had a meaningful, and when I say meaningful, this was one of the best YouTube discussions that I've had in a comment section in a long time. Usually I try to stay out of the comment section because it's a bunch of Ricky, you're an idiot, followed by some people following by some people giving me some good what's ups, which I always like to hear. What's up, guys? But Matthew Williams, I'm calling him Matt. He might like Matthew. He's an Eagles fan, and I'm going to give you some of the stuff that he says, and I want you to respond to it, because I already gave him my 2 cents on it. He thinks the Eagles can be a 7-9 team, and this is where I'm going to pick up what he was saying. He said, the defense took a massive leap. They have one of the best safety duos. The linebackers are really solid and are pretty young. And the defensive line looks so much better. The wide receivers are only getting better because Matthews is now the number 1, and Randall is a good complement. And Nelson, didn't know if he spelled it right, he did, looks like he is getting better. The offensive line improved, got deeper, and 2 great rookies. And sure, Bradford isn't the great, but he's going to do better with a new head coach. Carson Wentz, as everything goes planned, can sit out a year, or almost all of it, and he could become an amazing quarterback in the future.
Well, I think the key for the future is Carson Wentz should sit out the whole year. Mm-hmm. Rain or shine, he should not be there. Sam Bradford, this is the last year on his contract, right? He's gone after this year.
Yeah. He wanted to get traded at first.
He did. And then immediately realized, oh, wait a minute, nobody wants my contract? Mm-hmm. I'm good. I'll stay. It's okay. Sam Bradford's got to play the whole time. Or let Chase go out there and have a little bit of fun. You got to let Carson just sit and learn. The pressure's going to be there.
Run around Russell Wilson style, some schoolyard bullshit.
Exactly. Go in the backyard, play some football. Now, Jordan Matthews, Nelson Aguilar, Ruben Randall. Mm-hmm. Ruben Randall to me is that guy who...
Ruben Randall or Woobin Wandle?
Woobin Wandle. That guy to me who he benefited from being on a good team. Mm-hmm. And he benefited from having a good quarterback.
Having elite Manning, the greater of the Manning brothers.
Well, they're equal now. Equal Manning out there.
However, I guess you could say it for both of them. Both of them knew how to beat Tom Brady.
They did. Manning brothers are really good at beating Tom Brady. Especially equal Manning.
Yeah, he's 2-0, 100%. Yeah. Right there, Sean.
Makes it really complicated. Unlike his brother, equal Manning was not 2-0 against Tom and Brady. Tom and Brady. I'm throwing everything in here. Going to switch to Game of Thrones mode. Anyways, so Ruben Randall is not a guy who I truly believe in. Fortunately, he can be a number 3 wide receiver. He doesn't need to be that great. Jordan Matthews is that interesting one where he doesn't seem like he should be a number 1 wide receiver, yet he's proven himself. He really does. So you kind of, at this point, you have to give him some respect. I agree with that for sure. He talks about the defense, and I mean, sure, the defense isn't as bad as I think we're going to make it out to seem, but still, they gave up like 27 points a game last year. I can't ignore that. I really can't. And Jim Schwartz is a guy who encourages players to be aggressive, which is nice. He encourages them to be ruthless, which is nice. He encourages them to stomp on the opposing quarterback's face, which is not as nice. No, I'm sure he didn't actually encourage that. But I just don't believe that this team that already was giving up a shit ton of points and letting opposing offenses stay on the field, now with Jim Schwartz out there, I don't really believe that's going to make that opposing team point total go down much further. And this offense just isn't built to compete like that. They're not the New York Giants. They're not going to win shootouts. Sam Bradford can put up some good games every now and then, but I don't think they're going to do it, and I think that they have to play a lot of really good teams. This whole division does, but they have to play a lot of really good teams, and Sam Bradford and Chase Daniel, they're not going to go and they're not going to do it.
Here's how I see it. You ready for me to break this down for you, Marky boy? Marky Mark?
I'm willing to see it.
Okay. Here's how I see the division. Cowboys, 0-2 right away. I'm giving both of those games to the Cowboys right now. The Giants, I could possibly see a split. So right there, out of those two teams, you're seeing a 1-3 record right now. The Redskins, I'm going to say not a chance right now. Maybe 0-2 with that too. So, okay, now you're what? Not 1-3. You're 1-5 in the division, which ain't good. Then you got to play the NFC North. That's a 1-3. You're only beating the Lions. So now that 1-5 that you have,
but it is
a 2-8.
Detroit though.
Yeah, I'll give you a win over the Lions. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but you're at 2-8 right. 2-8 right now. Then you got to play the AFC North. This is tricky. The Browns week 1, it'll probably be a win.
But here's the thing though, RG3 will actually be healthy game 1.
And that's why I say it's
That's
tricky.
what's
that
tough.
Browns game is tricky, but I'm going to give it to the Eagles. The Ravens, to me, is the bigger question mark because what kind of a Ravens team are we going to see this year? I'm going to put them
It's at the end of the season, too. You don't know what shape they're still going to be in.
I'm going to put them at 2-2 right now. This could change when I get to my prediction video, but right now, fine, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt right now just to give you some wins. So you have 1-5 in the division, plus your 1-3 from the NFC North gives you 2-8, plus your 2-2 from the AFC North gives you 4 wins on the season. So you are right now sitting at 4-10 with 2 games left. You have played 14 of your 16 games, and you are sitting there at 4-10. Your last 2 games, Atlanta and Seattle. Fucking don't even think about beating Seattle because you got to go into Quest Field, into the 12th man. That's a loss, 4-11. Atlanta? Yeah, sure, you can beat them, but if you beat them, you're 5-11. Is that really a good season? Yeah, you didn't get the first pick, maybe.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You were going to have it anyways.
Is that really a good season? Is 5-11 really a good season to you? No, it's not. So they might not be the worst, as you said in your article on MVP.com.
They're in the running for worst team.
However, 5-11 is not something to be happy about. Like I'm not completely sold on Matt's 7-9, 9-7
no,
prediction.
I'm not either. I mean, is it possible? Sure.
Well, anything's possible.
But well,
KG told me so.
I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett told me so, man.
But I think really this team is most likely at 3 or 4 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they're doing things wrong. It's just that they really had to restart and they kind of had to change some things. And they got this young quarterback that they traded the farm for, but he's not going to be ready this year. He might not be ready next year. I mean, he should start next year for sure. But he's not ready right now. It's just, it's a little bit of a ways away.
And then I'm going to go a little bit second level on it. So let's take that 5-11 record right now. Based on last year's draft, that puts you between either 5th, 6th, or 7th in the NFL draft. If we take that range, that 5-11 range since 2011, that's either 5, 6, 7, or 8th. So we add that 8th pick. That's where you'd be sitting for a Cleveland Browns draft pick if you were 5-11. Then I look at it and some of those wins I gave you, because you could have some games like the Patriot game last year for the Eagles. Yeah, you could win some. But let's go to the other side, because that's how I am with this team. Let's look at the negative side. That Giants win I gave you, that Atlanta win I gave you, and that Raven game I gave you.
Could go either way.
Let's say those are losses. Boom, you're sitting at a 2-14 team. And the reason why I bring up those 3 for sure is the Giant win was the home game, which is second half of the season. Those 3 games, all second halfers, could be games that Carson Wentz starts because Bradford gets injured or the pressure's on to start Carson Wentz halfway through the season and you lose those games. Now you're a 2-14 team. That's number 1 in the NFL draft.
Yeah, if you're coming out of that bye and things are not going well, there might be some calls for some change. I know they've got a little bit of an earlier bye here, but there might be some people saying, hey, we did draft him, 2nd overall. We did trade everything we had to get him. Why isn't he playing? I want to see him play. So it really is up to this coaching staff to remain strong, to have that vision and say, this is what we want to do.
We are not going to start him this season.
Exactly. They need to be able to do that. But, of course, you know what? Preseason changes everything. He's not outperforming anybody right now, but if he starts outperforming in the preseason when it's actually, when they actually got some pads on and there's an opposing team out there, of course he's going to play a bunch of backups, but he starts doing well, they might think about, hey, let's move him up a roster spot, or depth chart spot, I should say.
Okay, we've spent a ton of time on the Eagles, probably a little more than we should have. Let's move on into the Washington Redskins. We don't want to make any Redskin fans angry again because, the last time we talked about the Redskins was the, I believe we titled it Josh Norman signing, Are You Fucking Kidding Me? And Redskin Nation nearly shit their pants at that video. Some of the big news from the free agent market: Pierre Thomas no longer there. RG3 is now in Cleveland. You have Terrence Knighton is now with the New England Patriots, and Goldson is now nowhere because you cut him. Guys you're bringing in: 2 guys from Denver. Vernon Davis is now coming over. You got Davis Barton Jr. coming over. You got Terrence Garvin coming over from the Steel City. You've got Kendall Reyes coming over. And then in the draft, you get Kendall Fuller, the guy that I love because he comes out of my second favorite college team in Virginia Tech. He's the brother of, I can't remember his first name. He's on the Bears. Is it Kyle Fuller?
Yep.
Kyle Fuller, who's on the Bears. You also get Sua Cravens, who's a good safety. Well, safety/linebacker. That's what he played in college with the Trojans of Southern Cal. But your big one, wide receiver, first-round pick, Josh Doxson, the guy that I believe they traded up a pick to go ahead and get. That was their guy that they wanted. And Kirk Cousins, he's the big guy. I want to talk about him first. We'll hit him, then Josh Norman, then whatever we feel fit for this Redskin team. Kirk Cousins, he's going to be playing on a $19 million franchise tag. He reportedly denied a contract offer from the Redskins, which would have kept him long-term at an average salary of about $16 million. What are you expecting from Kirk Cousins this season, and do you like that?
No, I never liked that. I never liked it from the first time he said it. I don't remember who said this the other day, but I appreciated the way they said it. That they said that Kirk Cousins should be everybody's favorite quarterback right now because he's such an underdog.
Yep.
He really is.
But he's not.
And he keeps proving himself. But no, he's really not everybody's favorite quarterback. Here's my thing about Kirk Cousins. I think he had many opportunities to prove himself and did not. Failed to do so every opportunity he had until last year, which makes me think that is not the real Kirk Cousins. The real Kirk Cousins is the one who fails to prove himself. That's the real deal, not this one that we have right now. And I think what Washington did is smart. Washington said, we're not willing to give you that big chunk of money that you want. We'll give you this big chunk of money because we are curious enough. We are curious enough to see what you really are made out of. Next season, we'll do it. We gave you another option because Jordan Reed, the tight end, that was his wide receiver last year. He got 11 touchdowns last year. He had the besides of course Rob Gronkowski had the most touchdowns. Actually, they had the most touchdowns in the NFL for tight ends.
And they even went out and tried to get him another wide receiver target in Josh Doxson.
Exactly.
Well, and
that's what they're trying to do.
Well, and that's also a move because you have Deshaun Jackson. I believe he's on the last year of his contract. Pierre Garçon is in a long-term. I think both of them are actually on their contract years. I'm going to have to look that up. But that was a move to try to get him, I should say, a number one wide receiver on top of Jordan Reed. But,
well, they're doing what they need to do. Here's the thing about the Washington Redskins last year. Yeah, they had some success, but they really were just kind of an average team, average defense, average offense. You know, the passing attack was a little bit better, but the rushing attack was bad. And that's going to be a key part we haven't touched yet. But they have to do something in the running game. They were just bad. The running attack was not good last year. They have to do something better. So with this team here, they have to get something going. They're trying to it. They're trying to do it. They're trying to get all these pieces for Kirk Cousins. Colt McCoy's back there, and he's not going to be anything that you want to see actually taking the field. So do I think he proves himself? No. I think he's going to prove that he's just an average quarterback. I still think the Washington Redskins compete for this division.
Hey, man, don't forget, they picked up a 6th-round quarterback in Nate Sudfeld from Indiana to try to maybe be the future. Maybe be the future if Kirk Cousins decides to leave.
But no.
No, just shut up, Ricky.
That's not doing anything for him. I just think that Kirk Cousins is just an average quarterback who's going to underperform.
That's what he is. He's right now, I would say he kind of sits in that. I kind of want to. If I'm looking at the Colin Cowherd tiers of quarterback, I want to put him in tier 5. I want to put him.
That's
in
what
the
I believe.
gold.
That's what Cowherd put him in.
I want him in that fool's gold where he's not your answer. However, I could maybe put him in tier 3. I'm not putting him in tier 4 because he's not a future. He's not a could-be star. He's probably never going to be a star or a fool's gold. I'd put him more in that fool's gold. But the one thing I did look at, Pierre Garçon is a free agent after this year. Deshaun Jackson could be, but he's got a club option that the team could accept for next year. So they're most likely going to lose Pierre Garçon at the end of this year, and Doxson will take on the role of either number 1 or number 2. They could lose both of them, though, this year. But the second big signing that they did, Kirk Cousins wasn't a signing, so you should say the biggest signing they did was after the whole tender fiasco happened in Carolina, and Carolina took back their franchise tender of Josh Norman, the Redskins swooped in and got him, and now he's a part of the Redskins, which boosts their defense, but is it enough to keep them as the best team in the NFC East?
That's such a bitter high school girlfriend move of the Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
to be
what? You don't want to stay with me?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're gone. Fuck it. Get out of here.
Hey, I want you back so badly. Please come here. And then they're saying, no, I'm not going to do it. Okay, fine, I'll do it. Well, no, I don't want you.
You know what?
You said no.
I'm gonna go one step on top of that. Josh Norman was the girl who lets her parents do all the talking. Because what was the big thing? The big thing was who was doing all the talking for Josh Norman? His agent. Josh Norman didn't know what was going on in those meetings. How would he know? He's the girlfriend that was letting the parents do all the talking until the boyfriend said, fuck it, I'm out of here. This fucking bracelet or ring that I have on the table, fuck that. I'm taking it back. I'll give it to somebody else.
Yeah, I just think that I don't think this was the best move Josh Norman could have made. I really don't.
No, the best move was staying in Carolina.
For sure. Both, Carolina definitely is feeling the loss with Josh Norman, but Josh Norman, as good as he was last year and as good as he is, I think a lot of that is playing on that Carolina defense. I mean, you got Charles Tillman out there, you got Luke Kuechly out there, who are, one of them just retired in Tillman, but you have absolute stars out there. Josh Norman, no wonder he's going to be a star. It's like how anybody can be a star on the Seattle Seahawks defense because everyone else there is so good as well.
Well, and it's like the point I brought up in the comment section on that video is Brandon Browner. Yeah, he was shit in Philly, but now coming back to that team, he's going to be fine because they don't need him to be great. They just need him to fit the system.
Exactly. And Josh Norman, he's not in that situation where he just needs to fit a system or he's got all that great supporting cast. Now, Josh Norman does take care of a lot out there, and he's going to be great. He's going to do wonderful things, but it's not going to be as good as it was in Carolina. So you definitely see some fall off in that, but at the same time, it does make the defense better. We're just not great. It's just not a team that's great. If the Dallas Cowboys were at full health last year, they would have been the division winners. They would have probably only won 10 games, but they would have been the division winners last year. Washington, I don't know. Maybe they still would have gotten a wild card spot. I'd have to look at everybody's records last year to know for sure. But that's fine. It's just that it's not like all of a sudden the Washington Redskins are this amazing team that I think a lot of people want to suddenly think that the Washington Redskins are Super Bowl contenders. I don't think anyone's really truly believes that, but that's the kind of the discussion that a lot of people are having of all these. Don't count out the Washington Redskins. Kirk Cousins is a real quarterback now, and they drafted a wide receiver, so they're good to go. They're ready, and that's really not the case. This is a team that I don't really know exactly where to put them. They could go anywhere from 7 wins to 10 wins. They really could. It kind of really is going to fall onto how is Josh Doxson going to do? Is he going to be a very reliable target? Is Jordan Reed going to play as well as he was playing last year? And Kirk Cousins, is he an actual quarterback?
No, my big one is Kirk Cousins. Can he replicate? Because it's kind of like that saying where it's like, okay, do it like, what is it? You do it once, it's luck. Okay, 2 times you're good. 3 times, then it becomes a trend or something like that.
I don't know what that one is. I always say that, 1 time's a fluke, 2 times is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern.
That's what I'm looking for. That 3rd time, we need to get there. You're not that pattern yet. Right now, if you only have last year and this year's a dud, then you're a fluke.
Exactly.
We got to get you to that pattern. Show me that you're a pattern and not a fluke.
Fortunately for Washington, this is another contract year for Kirk Cousins. So he's got to go out there and he's got to prove himself. Because if he does not do very well, if this team wins 6 games,
I believe the Redskins could tender him again.
Well, they could, but I'm saying it's a contract year in the sense.
But it would be at a higher price, and quarterbacks get paid.
Well,
that money is skyrocketing.
He has to perform well in order to earn that contract. And players want to perform well. So they got that. Washington has that going in their favor. And if he doesn't do well, they just say, all right, see ya. We'll draft somebody.
And then somebody like Denver will pick him up.
Could be.
Because right now I'm trying to think, Denver, maybe Chip Kelly picks him up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Chip Kelly...
They're going to need a quarterback, it looks like.
I don't know, man. Blaine Gabbert.
Yo, Gabba Gabba.
Exactly.
Yo, Gabba Gabba.
And for Denver, it really depends on, because they drafted...
they've got Paxton Lynch. I forgot about him.
But, I mean, I don't know. Is that anything real?
Is he going to be doing anything? I mean, he could be better than Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, but we've got to see
probably not, though. Really, it's all just a bunch of suck.
Yeah, it's a bunch of whatever. You got a rookie quarterback, but